Hi everyone, so I welcome you to my new video series. In this, I'll be discussing all the CAT 24 slot 2 quant questions. And if you like my content, you can consider subscribing and please don't forget to like and comment. Additionally, if you want to understand all the concepts for the quant section in CAT from scratch, from basics up to the advanced level, please don't forget to check out my course. I have given the link in the description. All right, so let's look at this very first question. This very first question came to me as a surprise because since a very long time, CAT did not ask any question from remainders theorem, but this marks as a comeback for the remainder theorem. Okay, so the question is 3 raised to triple 3 is divided by 11. The remainder is what? Okay, pretty simple question. It's a pretty doable question. So there are multiple ways of going about this question. The first thing is, guys, if you know, 242 is basically a multiple of 11. So that I simply understood by observation. 22 into 11 would give me a 242, right? And I know that 3 raised to 5 is nothing but 243. Okay. Now, if you understand this particular connection, you already know what is to be done. If not, pay attention step by step. You will exactly understand what I'm going to do here. So 3 raised to triple 3, let's break this as 3 raised to 330 into 3 raised to 3. We have applied the laws of indices here. A raised to m plus n is a raised to m into a raised to n, right? So 3 raised to 330, I'll further break it as 3 raised to 5 into 66. Simply breaking 330 as 5 into 66. This part I'll keep as it is, okay? So 3 raised to 3 as it is. Now, again, using the law of indices, 3 raised to 5 into 66 can be written as 3 raised to 5, the whole raised to 66. The second part again as it is. Further, 3 raised to 5 is 243. The whole thing raised to 66, right? Into 3 cube is again, you can keep it as it is or write 27, makes no difference. Now, remember guys, we have discussed that 22 into 11 was 242. So if I divide 243 by 11, if I divide this 243 by 11, 11 22s are 242, I will get the remainder as 1. So technically, this 243 on dividing by 11 leaves a remainder 1. Thereby, this first part here will be 1 raised to the power 66. 1 into 1 into 1 into 166 times. So therefore, 1 power 66 into 27 divided by 11 is 11 2s are 22. The remainder is 5. So this part gives you a remainder 5. Finally, 1 power 66 is nothing but 1 only. Into 5 will give you the final remainder as 5. And that is the answer to your question. That is the D option. So that is standard way of solving this particular question using the concept of remainder theorem. Now let's look at the quicker way of solving this particular question, guys. And this I've discussed in my course as well. It is basically the concept of Euler's theorem. The Euler's number of the divisor should be found out. So we have to find out the Euler's number of 11. Euler's number of 11 is basically 11 minus 1. And that is nothing but 10. So all the multiples of 10 in the power will give you remainder 1 when 3 raised to that power is divided by 11. So that means 3 raised to 10, 3 raised to 20, 3 raised to 30 up to 3 raised to 330. All these numbers on dividing by 11 will leave a remainder of 1. We have already proved this previously in the conventional approach. But now if you use the Euler's theorem, it's a cakewalk. So 3 power 330 gives you a remainder 1. The extra 3 remains. So we simply need to find the remainder of 3 power 3 when divided by 11. 3 power 3 is 27. On dividing by 11, the remainder is basically 5. And that's the answer to your question, the D option. If this entire concept of remainders theorem is new to you, you can check out the link I have posted here, or you can check out my entire course where we will discuss the whole concept in detail. All right, so with that, we go on to the second question. If x and y satisfy the equations mod x plus y is 15 and x plus mod y minus y is 20, then x minus y equals. So there are multiple ways of approaching this particular question. The first approach is basically you take cases, okay? If you have mod involved, you can have possibilities, right? We focus on the first equation right now. It says mod x plus y is 15. So we take two possibilities here when x is greater than 0 and when x is less than 0. If x is greater than 0, mod x will be equal to x only. So the equation will become x plus y is 15 or 2x plus y is equal to 15. Whereas if x was less than 0, Mod x would be equal to minus of x. So minus of x plus x would cancel out and simply give you y is equal to 15. So the first equation gives you two possibilities. 2x plus y is 15 when x is positive and y is 15 when x is negative. Okay. Similarly, we'll have to take two possibilities for the second equation also, guys. The first case is when y is greater than 0. When y is greater than 0, obviously mod y will be equal to y. So in this case, I will have x plus y minus y equals to 20. Plus y minus y cancels. I will simply get x equals 20. And similarly, when y is less than 0, mod y is nothing but minus y, right? So in this case, mod of y will be replaced by minus y. I will have x minus y, that is x minus 2y equals to 20. Now, two cases here and two cases here. 2 into 2, I have a total of 4 possibilities, right? The first possibility is by combining these two, x is greater than 0 and y is greater than 0. In that case, we have 2x plus y equals to 15 and we also have x equals to 20. So we'll substitute x equals 20 in the first equation. 2 into 20 would give me 40 plus y is equal to 15. So y would be equal to 15 minus 40 minus 25. Now in this case, naturally x minus y would be 20 minus 25. That's 20 plus 25, 45. But we have a small problem. The problem is we had assumed that x is greater than 0 and x is indeed greater than 0 in this case. X is 20. But we had also considered that y should be greater than 0, but y is coming out to be negative. That means this value of 45 is not possible, and hence we check for the second possibility, the second case. Let us now look at the second possibility when x is greater than 0, but y is less than 0. In that case, you have 2x plus y is equal to 15 or x minus 2y is equal to 20. We can multiply the second equation completely by 2. It will give us 2x minus 4y equals to 40. And now we subtract it from the first equation. 2x and minus 2x will get cancelled out. Y minus 4y will be 5y. And 15 minus 40 will be minus 25. This part gives me y equals to minus 5. Now, y equals to minus 5, I will substitute in any of these two equations. Let's start by substituting in the first one. 2x minus 5 is equal to 15. Minus 5 there will become plus 5. 2x is 20, or that gives me x is equal to 10. If x is equal to 10 and y is equal to minus 5, x minus 5 will be 10 minus minus 5, which is 15. And that is very clearly our D option, right? We can stop here, but if you want to check, you can find out, you can take the other possibilities also, like y is equal to 15 and y is equal to 20. So let's look at the other approach of solving the given question, guys. They've said that x and y satisfy both the equations. So we can draw the graphs of these two equations and find their point of intersection to get the value of x and y, and then we can answer the question. So I am not very sure how will this turn out in the exact exam setting. But yeah, this is another beautiful way of getting the answer to the question. So let's see how we do that. First, we have already seen that when x is greater than 0, the first equation becomes 2x plus y is equal to 15. And when x is less than 0, the equation becomes y is equal to 15. Now we'll draw our Cartesian coordinate axis and we'll plot the two equations. In the first part, wherever x is greater than 0, meaning the first and the fourth quadrant, we will plot the equation 2x plus y equals to 15. And it will be something like this, right? And when x is less than 0, we have y is equal to 15. That means in the second and the fourth quadrant, we have this equation y is equal to 15. It's a straight line parallel to the x-axis. Okay, so as you can see very clearly, when x is less than 0, the graph is y equals to 15, a straight line parallel to the x-axis. And when x is greater than 0, you have the graph 2x plus y equals to 15. Okay, you can now mark the intercepts here. The y-intercept of 2x plus y equals to 15 can be obtained by putting x as 0. You get y equals to 15. So the point of intersection of this line 2x plus y equal to 15 with the y-axis is 0, 15. Same way, if you put y is equal to 0, you'll get the x-intercept as 7.5. 2x is equal to 15. X is 7.5. So let's look at the second equation now. For the second equation also, when y is greater than 0, the equation becomes x equals 20. And when y is less than 0, the equation is x minus 2y equals to 20. Now, y will be greater than 0. In that case, the equation is x equals 20. And you can observe very clearly, guys, y is greater than 0 in this first and second quadrant. Equation will be x equals to 20. X being equal to 20, it will be to the right of 7.5. So it will be something like this. Similarly, when y is less than 0, the equation is x minus 2y equals 20. In that, if you put x equals 0, y is minus 10, and y equal to 0, x is 20. It will be something like this. Again, we can write the intercepts, minus 10 and 20 here. Now, you can very clearly observe that the intersection of these two graphs happens in the fourth quadrant, right? And in the fourth quadrant, very clearly, we know that x is greater than 0, while y is less than 0. So the solution for these two equations can be obtained by considering x greater than 0 condition and y less than 0 condition. So we'll take 2x plus y equals to 15, and we'll also take the second equation, x minus 2y equals 20, and solve them simultaneously as you have seen already. First equation will multiply by 2 throughout, we'll get 4x plus 2y equals to 30. Adding the two equations now, we will get x is equal to 10. Substituting that in any of these two equations, we get y equals to minus 5. And now our answer, x minus 5 is 10 minus minus 5, which is nothing but 15. A very good way of solving the question. I know it's slightly difficult if you, especially if you're not good with graphs, but that eliminates all the hassles of finding out different possibilities and checking by substitution. We get a direct solution here in this case. By looking at the intersection, you get x and y. And from here, you can get x minus y very easily. All right, so this is our next question from CAT 24, the second slot. And this question reminds me of one question in CAT 23 slot 2. If you observe this, we have already solved this particular question in the CAT 23 playlist. You can check that out. So here we have this question. If m and n are natural numbers such that n is greater than 1 and m raised to n is 2 power 25 and 3 power 40, then m minus n equals. Guys, it's a very super duperly easy question, would involve certain calculations. But if you know the powers of 3 and 2, it is a cakewalk. Okay. So the left hand side is m power n. Notice that m and n are both natural numbers. And the right hand side is 2 power 25 into 3 power 40. We need a natural number raised to a natural number basically. But the right hand side right now, it is not of that format, right? So we deliberately, intentionally make the right hand side with that same format. Okay, the base is different, 2 and 3 in this case, right? So the quickest way of doing this would be to make the powers same. So we start by finding out the highest common factor of 25 and 40, which is nothing but 5. So now the right hand side can be written as 2 raised to 25, I will split as 5 into 5 into 3 power 40, I will split as 3 power 5 into 8. Now, using the laws of indices, 2 raised to 5 into 5 will be 2 raised to 5, the whole thing raised to 5 into the next number 3 raised to 5 into 8 can be further written as 3 raised to 8, the whole raised to 5. This is our law of indices, which says a raised to m the whole raised to n is nothing but a raised to m into n. I am applying it reversely. So next, 2 raised to 5 is nothing but 32 raised to 5, and 3 raised to 8, if you know powers of 3, is nothing but 81 square. 81 square is 6561. This thing raised to 5. The next step is we have made the powers same. Now we can use the next law of indices. A raised to m into b raised to m will be a into b the whole raised to m. So this 32 raised to 5 into 6561 raised to 5 can be written as 32 into 6561 the whole raised to 5. Bingo. We just need one step and we have our answer before our eyes. We need to multiply 32 and 6561. You can use the actual on-screen calculator for this. It will be 209,952 raised to 5. And that's exactly what you want as the left-hand side, right? M raised to n, a natural number raised to a natural number. So we need the value of m minus n here in this case. By comparison, very clearly, we can say that m is nothing but 209,952 and n is nothing but 5. So m minus n will be 209,952 minus 5, 209,947. And very clearly, it is our C option. Super easy question. You just need to be good with indices, the powers of prime numbers to be able to deal with this question. The answer is option C. So this brings me to the fourth question. ABCD is a trapezium in which AB is parallel to CD. The sides AD and BC extended intersect at E. AB is 2 centimeters and CD is 1. Given that AB and CD are parallel to each other and AB is 2 and CD is 1. So AB is naturally greater. So let's draw them. This is basically AB, 2 centimeters, and this should be CD, right? 1 centimeters, right? Okay. And AB and CD, when you extend, they meet at a point E. So AB, that's 2 centimeters, and CD, that is 1 centimeters. AD and BC extended meet at a point E. All right. Since it's a trapezium, we have been told DC is going to be parallel to AB, right? And perimeter of ABCD is 6 centimeters. Okay, then the perimeter of the big triangle AEB is required. That's the question. Okay, beautiful question. It's very simple actually. If you know the basics of similarity, it's very, very easy to solve. Okay, so what I will do here is, guys, I will just take AD as, let's say, X, and I'll take BC here as Y. Okay, you'll understand this point why I'm doing this very soon. Now, this we've discussed in our course also many a times. And I hope you know this already, that whenever we have a triangle, a big triangle, and we draw a line parallel to one of its sides, then the smaller triangle, in this case, the triangle EDC, and the bigger triangle EAB, they are always similar by the AA test of similarity. So in this case, we simply write the ratio of the corresponding sides. We can see that ED upon EA should be equal to EC upon EB should be equal to DC upon AB. Okay. Now, the question already gives us the values of DC and AB. DC has been given as 1 and AB has been given to us as 2. So we can observe that very clearly. ED is half of EA and similarly EC is half of EB. So if ED is half of EA, guys, AD was X and ED will also be equal to X, the other half. And similarly, if EC is half of EB, if CB was Y, EC was also equal to Y, the other half, right? Now, we have been given the perimeter of quadrilateral ABCD in this case, right? And which is 6. By geometry, this perimeter will be X plus 1 plus Y plus 2. This perimeter of the trapezium, X plus 1 plus Y plus 2, has been given to us as 6. So X plus Y plus 1 plus 2 is 3, will be 6. Thereby, I'm going to get X plus Y is equal to 3. And now we are just one step away in getting our actual answer. The answer we need is the perimeter of triangle AEB. For triangle AEB, the perimeter will be X plus X, 2X, and Y plus Y, 2Y, and the 2 here, right? Finally, between these two, if I take a 2 common, 2 into X plus Y remains plus 2. But X plus Y we already know as 3. We put it here. 2 3s are 6 plus 2. 6 plus 2, the final answer to our question is 8. It is very clearly your C option. As I've said, pretty simple question. And we can apply the basic concept of similarity here to get the answer. Hi, don't forget to check out my course for the quant section of the CAT exam, where I've explained all concepts, tips and tricks, shortcuts, and past year questions in great detail. Now, the other way of approaching this question can be applying something called as the midpoint theorem. In this particular case, you won't even need to prove the two triangles similar and write the ratio of corresponding sides. The midpoint theorem clearly states that if a line joins the midpoints of two sides of a triangle, it is parallel to the third side and half of it. So for triangle AEB, AB is one side and this DC is parallel to it and it is half of it. By consequence, D and C become the midpoints. Thereby, DE is also X, EC is also Y. Now we already know X plus 1 plus Y plus 2 is given as 6. We get X plus Y as 3. And now the same procedure. the perimeter of triangle EAB will be 2x plus 2y plus 2, which is nothing but 2 into 3 plus 2, 6 plus 2 is 8. So this way you can solve this question even more quickly if you understand or if you remember the midpoint theorem. If you don't know the midpoint theorem, you can check out the link in the description. I have basically discussed this in my course. So this is our fifth question. According to me, this was the easiest question of this lot. Let's see how we deal with this. Beena incurs 19% loss when she sells a product at rupees 4860 to Sham, who in turn sells this product to Hari. If Beena would have sold this product to Sham at the purchase price of Hari, she would have obtained 17% profit. Then the profit in rupees made by Sham is. Okay, pretty simple question. So let the cost price for Beena be equal to 100x rupees. The standard approach which we have already seen in many of our profit and loss questions. Okay, so for Beena, the cost price is basically 100x and she's selling at a loss of 19%. So there's a loss of 19% on 100x. The selling price is 19% lesser. So 19% of 100x is 19x. That means 100x minus 19x, selling price would be 81x. The other way of looking at this is, we have seen this in percentages already. Whenever a number reduces by 19%, it gets multiplied by 0.81. All right. And Beena has sold this particular product to Sham. Sham in turn will send this product to Hari. Okay. For Sham, the cost price is 81x, which has been given to us as 4860, right? But we don't know at what price did Sham sell to Hari. Now, the question further tells us that if Beena would have sold this product to Sham at the purchase price of Hari, she would have obtained 17% profit. Very simply, guys. Now we have to read this question in a reverse fashion. If Beena would have sold this product at 17% profit, we will get the purchase price of Hari, right? So 17% profit on 100x is basically 17x. So basically the purchase price of Hari is 117x. And that means the selling price for Sham is again 117x. The question demands what is the profit made by Sham in rupees. Now this is just two steps. The profit made by Sham will be the selling price for Sham, 117x minus 81x. The difference of these two is nothing but 36x. And we already know that this 81x corresponds to 4860. So now equating 81x with 4860, we get x as 4860 by 81. 81 6 are 486 and a 0, we get x as 60. Plug it in here, we get the profit made by Sham. 36 into 60. 36 into 60 is 36 into 6 into 10. This is 6 cube, right, guys? And if you know 6 cube, it's very easy. 216 into 10. The profit made by Sham is 2,160 rupees, right? You could also cross multiply these two. You could have got the answer directly. That's also the other way out. But if you generally prefer solving for variable and putting it in the given expression to get the answer, that's how you do it. Otherwise, I personally prefer the cross multiplication. Nonetheless, the answer to our question is 2,160 rupees is the profit made by Sham. If you like my content and if you want to master the quant section in the CAT exam, don't forget to check out my course. I've put the link in the description for the same. In this course, I've explained all the concepts from the basic to the advanced level. So let's go on to the sixth question. This was a slightly painful one, but let's see. Amal and Vimal together can complete a task in 150 days, while Vimal and Sunil together can complete the task in 100 days. Now, I've seen many instructors out there trying to explain this question using the reciprocal method. This is where it gets really complicated, guys. So we'll use the efficiency approach to tackle this question. Assume the efficiencies of these people as A, V, and S for Amal, Vimal, and Sunil respectively. The efficiencies are nothing but the work they're performing in one day. So the work they're performing in unit time or the work they're performing per day is A units per day for Amal, V units per day for Vimal, and S units per day for Sunil. Okay. Now Amal and Vimal together can complete a task in 150 days and Sunil and Vimal together can complete it in 100 days. Now the second step you can follow to make your life easy is start by assuming the work as the LCM of the two numbers 150 and 100. The LCM of these two numbers is basically 300. You can take any other multiple of 150 and 100, a common multiple, maybe 600, 1200 or whatever. But taking the LCM precisely makes the task slightly easy. because you get smaller numbers to work with further. Okay. Now, Amal and Vimal together can complete a task in 150 days. So Amal and Vimal, when they work together, their efficiency will be A plus V, right? Like this, they work for 150 days. The work done is A plus V into 150. And this work is 300 units, right? So that gives me A plus V is equal to 2, dividing both sides by 150. Let's call this as equation 1. Okay. Similarly, Vimal and Sunil together can complete the same task in 100 days. So Vimal plus Sunil multiplied by 100 is also 300 units of work done. Vimal and Sunil together complete V plus S units of work daily. Like this, they work for 100 days. The total work they complete is V plus S into 100, which is 300 units. Cancel out the two zeros on both sides. I will get V plus S is nothing but 3. Now we have a third condition. Amal starts working on the task and works for 75 days. So 75 days at the rate of A units per day. This is the work that Amal does. Then Vimal takes over and works for 135 days. 135 days at the rate of V units per day. Sunil takes over and completes the remaining task in 45 days. So 45 days at the rate of S units per day. This is the total work done, right? 75 into A plus 135 into V plus 45 into S is the total work 300. Now let's stop for a few minutes and understand something, guys. We have three equations and we have three variables. So from this, we should be able to calculate the value of each variable, A, V, and S, right? So what we will now do is, very smartly, we have to observe 135V, I can simply split that as 75V, and further I can split it as 45V and the remaining 15V. You'll understand my point very soon. We'll start by splitting 135V as 75V plus 45V plus 15V. Now, other two components, 75A and 45S, will be as it is, and the total is 300. Now, when we club these two terms together, guys, let's club these two terms together. 75 into A plus V is what we get. Plus, let's club together these two, 45V and 45S. So 45 can be taken common. I get V plus S plus 15V is what remains, is 300. Now, very smartly, let's observe something. A plus V we already know is 2 and V plus S we already know is 3. By substituting, we can calculate the value of the unknown V in this case, right? So let's do it. 75 into 2 will be 150. 45 into 3 is basically 15 into 9, 135. Plus 15V is nothing but 300. So 150 and 135 is 285. 285 plus 15V is 300. Or 15V is 300 minus this 285, 15 only. That gives me V is equal to 1. Breakthrough. It's a major breakthrough, guys. We have got the value of V as 1. So we have simply found V as 1 in this particular case. The efficiency that we had assumed for Vimal is nothing but 1 unit per day. And now this value of V, I will substitute in the equation 1 and the second equation, which I had forgotten to number, equation 2. In these two equations, I will substitute the value of V as 1. I will get A as 1, right? And in this case, if I put V as 1, 1 plus S is 3, I'll get S is 2, right? That's exactly what we need to answer the question right now. The efficiencies for A, V, and S, and the total work done 300. And now we can answer this particular question. So that brings us to the next part of the question. If Amal had started the task alone and worked on all days, so day 1, then day 2, then day 3, okay, day 4, every day Amal is working, right? And Amal is completing 1 unit of work daily. So 1, 1, 1, 1, like that. Vimal had worked on every second day. Okay, so Vimal is basically working on day 2. Okay, Vimal's efficiency is also 1. Day 4. Then Vimal will again work on day 6, along with Amal, obviously. And then he will again work on day 8, okay, along with Amal, so on and so forth, right? And Sunil had worked on every third day. So Sunil would have worked on every third day. On every third day means once with Amal on day 3, then along with Amal and Vimal on day 6, then again alone with Amal on day 9, so on and so forth, right? Then the number of days required to complete the task would have been beautiful. This is what is the most spiciest, the juiciest part of the question. The problem, the problem is that people don't try to understand this particular part. So day one only Amal is working. Day two, Amal is working along with Vimal. Okay, day three, Amal is working along with Sunil. Day four, again Amal and Vimal. Day five, I forgot to write, sorry. Day five, Amal is working again alone, right? And day six, Amal, Vimal, and Sunil, all three are working, right? Up to day six, guys, we have a different pattern every time. One, then one plus one, one plus two, one plus one, one plus one plus two, right? But after this day six, guys, from day seven onwards, if you observe, the same pattern repeats, right? One, two, one, two, right? So we need to calculate the total work done up to 6 days, right? And the total target work done is 300. And then we'll see what can be done further. So in 6 days, guys, the total work done is 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, 6 times the work done by Amal. By Bimal, the work done is 1 plus 1 plus 1, 3 units. And the work done by Sunil is 2 plus 2, that is 4 units. When you add all these three, you are going to get a total of 13 units. Okay. Now, 13 units are being completed in 6 days. I'll just write it here. 13 units of work is getting done in 6 days. So now let's take the nearest multiple of 13 to 300. Will make our life slightly easy. So the closest multiple of 13 to 300 is 299. That is 13 into 23. So 13 into 23 is obviously 299. 13 units in 6 days. So 299 units will be 6 into 23, right? 6 threes are 18, 6 twos are 12 plus 1, 13. 138 days would have passed. 138 days have passed and 299 units of work have been performed. We need a target of 300 units of work to be done. So on the 139th day, again, Amal will start the work and complete the remaining 1 unit, right? The target work of 300 will be accomplished in 139 days. That's the answer to your question, 139. Beautiful question. You need a proper grip of time and work to be able to solve this question properly, because if you have not understood these concepts properly, it is impossible to solve this question in the exam as well. So that's how you go about this, piece by piece, collecting information together. And that's how we get the answer, 139. So that brings me to the seventh question. A function f maps the set of natural numbers to whole numbers such that f of xy is f of x into f of y plus fx plus fy. This particular condition, f of xy is fx into fy plus fx plus fy for all x and y, and f of p is 1 for every prime number p. Then the value of f of 1,60,000 is, okay, 1640 is. So let's look at the first approach of solving this question, guys. We want to find f of 160000. Let's split this as 16 into 10 raised to 4. Now, 16 is also 2 raised to 4, and 10 raised to 4 can be further factorized as 2 raised to 4 into 5 raised to 4, right? So technically, this entire number can be written as 2 raised to 8 into 5 raised to 4. So now what we will do is we'll branch it out. We'll write 2 raised to 8 simply as 2 raised to 4 into 2 raised to 4. 2 raised to 4 will further branch as 2 raised to 2 into 2 raised to 2. And 2 raised to 2 will further branch as 2 raised to 1 and 2 raised to 1. Okay. And something similar we'll do for 5 also. 5 raised to 4 can be broken down to 5 square into 5 square. And 5 square can be written as 5 into 5. Okay. Now, as per the given condition, f of xy is fx into fy plus fx plus fy. And f of p is 1 for every prime number p. So, f of 2 should be equal to 1. And so also f of 5 should be equal to 1. So now, if I want to find out, let's say f of 25, f of 25 will be f of 5 into 5, which will be as per the definition f of 5 into f of 5 plus f of 5 plus f of 5, right? We have seen f of 5 is 1. So this entire thing becomes 1 into 1 plus 1 plus 1. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is basically 3. So f of 25 is nothing but 3 in this case. And now by the same logic, we can also find out f of 5 raised to 4, which can be further split as f of 5 square into 5 square. This is like f of x into y, right? So f of 5 square into f of 5 square plus f of 5 square plus f of 5 square, right? f of 5 square we know is 3 into this is also 3 plus this is 3 and this is 3. We have 3 3s are 9 plus 3 is 9 plus 6, 15. So f of 5 raised to 4 we have simply found as 15 in this case, right? Now same logic we can apply for 2 raised to 8 also, guys. 2 raised to 1 and 2 raised to 1 both will basically be f of 2 is equal to 1 and f of 2 is equal to 1. Using this we can calculate f of 2 square. The same logic that we have used for f of 5 square. It is nothing but f of 2 into f of 2 plus f of 2 plus f of 2. We already know f of 2 is also 1. So 1 into 1 plus 1 is also 3. So f of 2 square is worth 3. And here also we have f of 2 square is 3. Now understand, guys, f of 2 raised to 4 will be found exactly the same way that we have found f of 5 raised to 4, right? It will be 3 into 3 plus 3 plus 3. Sum of these two, adding their product. So 3 into 3 plus 3 plus 3 will give me 3 3s are 9 plus 3 plus 3. Same procedure will give me 15. And same way, this is also 15. And 2 raised to 8 can be found by the same logic, guys. 2 raised to 4 into 2 raised to 4 plus 2 raised to 4 plus 2 raised to 4. So 15 into 15 plus 15 plus 15. This is 225 plus 30, 255. That's all. We're just one step in getting our answer. The number here is f of 2 raised to 8 into 5 raised to 4. This will be f of 2 raised to 8 into f of 5 raised to 4 plus f of 2 raised to 8 plus f of 5 raised to 4, right? We know all these values. F of 2 raised to 8 we have found as 255 and f of 5 raised to 4 we know is 15. So f of 2 raised to 8 is again 255 plus 15. Multiplying 255 and 15 and adding these two to the answer, we have the final value. 255 into 15 we can very easily find with the on-screen calculator. 255 into 15 shall be 3825. This entire thing is 3825 plus 255 plus 15 is very clearly 4095. And obviously it is your B option, right? So that is one way of answering this particular question, guys. Now let's look at a slightly convenient, a slightly better way of solving the question, guys. If I ask you what would be f of 4, you would approach this problem to be f of 2 into 2. By definition, this will be f of 2 into f of 2 plus f of 2 plus f of 2, which will be 1 into 1 plus 1 by the definition. So 1 plus 1 plus 1 would give you 3. And observe that 3 is nothing but 2 square minus 1. Okay. What if I asked you find f of 6? F of 6 would also be f of 2 into 3. By the same logic, it will be f of 2 into f of 3 plus f of 2 plus f of 3. And the value would also be same. 1 into 1 plus 1, which is 3, or 2 raised to 2 minus 1. Now, what if I ask you f of 12? F of 12 would be f of 4 into 3, which will be f of 4 into f of 3 plus f of 4 plus f of 3. F of 4 we already have found as 3, right? So this is 3 into 1 plus 3 plus 1. This is 3 plus 3 plus 1, 7. And 7 is nothing but 2 raised to 3 minus 1, right? Okay. Now, here we can begin to see a pattern. When it's f of 4, we have two prime factors, 2 and 2, not distinct, identical prime factors, but we have two prime factors for this given number, right? So the value of f of 4 in this question is 2 raised to 2 prime factors minus 1. Similarly, when you found f of 12, 12 is basically 2 into 2 into 3. There are 3 prime factors, and that is why the value of this function f of 12 became 2 raised to 3 prime factors minus 1. And now I think you can see a pattern here. If a number is made up of n number of prime factors, the value of f of that number will simply be 2 raised to n minus 1. In this case, if you factorize 1,60,000, we have seen it is already 2 raised to 8 into 5 raised to 4. It is made up of 8 plus 4, 12 prime factors, right? So the value of f of 1,60,000 will be 2 raised to 12 minus 1. That's 4096 minus 1, 4095. Very frankly, I didn't solve the question by this logic, but I arrived at this logic by looking at the options. All these options are like 1 less than a power of 2. So that's what gave away. And yeah, that's another way of solving it. The answer is 4095. All right, so this is our next question from CAT 24, the second slot. It says sum of the infinite terms 1 by 5 into 1 by 5 minus 1 by 7 plus 1 by 5 square into 1 by 5 square minus 1 by 7 square plus 1 by 5 cube into 1 by 5 cube minus 1 by 7 cube is equal to. So let's look at the conventional method first. 1 by 5 we multiply with both the terms inside. 1 by 5 into 1 by 5. When these two terms get multiplied, I will get 1 by 5 the whole square minus 1 by 5 into 1 by 7 would be 1 by 5 into 1 by 7 plus next term is 1 by 5 square into 1 by 5 square minus 1 by 7 square. So 1 by 5 square when multiplied by 1 by 5 square, I will get 1 by 5 raised to 4 minus 1 by 5 square into 1 by 7 square is 1 by 5 into 1 by 7 the whole square. I have simply used the properties of indices. A raised to m into b raised to m is a into b the whole raised to m, right? Plus 1 by 5 cube into 1 by 5 cube minus 1 by 7 cube. When this gets multiplied by 1 by 5 cube inside, 1 by 5 cube into 1 by 5 cube becomes 1 by 5 the whole raised to 6, right? Minus 1 by 5 cube into 1 by 7 cube will be 1 by 5 into 1 by 7 the whole cube. And this continues for infinite terms. Okay, now if you observe carefully, 1 by 5 square can be written as 1 by 25. Okay, 1 by 5 raised to 4 can be written as 1 by 25 square. 5 raised to 4 will be same as 25 square, right? Plus 1 by 5 raised to 6 can be written as 1 by 25 raised to 3, right? 5 raised to 6 will be 5 raised to 2 raised to 3, right? So 25 cube. So if I club these terms together, I will generate a series, right? 1 by 25 plus 1 by 25 square plus 1 by 25 cube up to infinite terms, right? This is the first part of the solution. Okay, we club these terms together, the powers of 1 by 5, and that generates a new series, right? If you now look at the other terms, minus sign outside, all these terms have minus sign. Minus 1 by 5 into 1 by 7, minus 1 by 5 into 1 by 7 square, minus 1 by 5 into 1 by 7 cube. This is another series, right? I'll indicate it in blue. 1 upon 5 into 1 upon 7 is 1 upon 35. Okay, 1 upon 5 into 1 upon 7 the whole square is 1 upon 35 the whole square. Similarly, 1 upon 5 into 1 upon 7 the whole cube is 1 upon 35 the whole cube, and this continues till infinite terms. Now, carefully observing these two parts, we can say that we have two infinite GPs getting formed, right? This is an infinite GP. The first term here is 1 by 25, and so is the common ratio, right? Similarly, on this side, the second part, the blue part, also we have an infinite GP. The first term is 1 by 35, and so is the common ratio. Okay, we always know that for the sum of the infinite terms of a GP, it is A upon 1 minus R. Okay, and now we can very quickly solve this question. The first part here in red is A, the first term 1 by 25 upon 1 minus R. R is also 1 by 25. So 1 by 25 upon 1 minus 1 by 25. This is the first part. The second part is also 1 by 35. That is the first term upon the common ratio is also 1 by 35. So A upon 1 minus R is 1 by 35 upon 1 minus 1 by 35, right? Okay, little simplification will give us the answer quickly. So the first term here is 1 by 25 divided by 1 minus 1 by 25 is 25 minus 1, 24 upon 25, right? Minus, similarly, we have the second term as 1 by 35 in the numerator. Denominator is 1 minus 1 by 35, that's basically 34 by 35, right? 25 cancels here in the first term and 35 cancels here in second term. I am left with 1 upon 24 minus 1 upon 34. My final answer is 1 upon 24 minus 1 upon 34. The next step, we cross multiply. So 34 minus 24 upon 24 into 34, right? So the final answer would be 10 upon 24 into 34. 2 and 2 cancels, here 5 remains and here 12 remains. 5 divided by 12, 4s are 48, 4 carry, 36 and 4 is 40. The answer is 5 upon 408. That is the A option. Now that was the conventional method. I'll tell you a quick shortcut for all such questions now. And for that we will need the on-screen calculator though. So 1 by 5 into 1 by 5 minus 1 by 7. Let's calculate the approximate value for this particular term. The second part is 7 minus 5 upon 5 sevens are 35, and we also have 1 by 5, right? So this is 1 by 5 into 2 by 35, right? The approximate value will be 2 upon 5 into 35 is 175. So 2 divided by 175, this is approximately 0.0114. Okay, the first term. Similarly guys, the second term will be 1 by 25 into 1 by 25 minus 1 by 49, 7 square, right? So again cross multiply. This will be 1 by 25 into 49 minus 25 would be 24 divided by 25 into 49, right? Here the approximate value is, so 24 divided by 625 divided by 49. This is 0.00078. Okay, and similarly if you check, the next term would be even further decreased in value, right? So we just take the approximate value of these two numbers and add them, 0.00114. Okay, we add this to the one that we have got here, 0.00078. Okay, the approximate sum of these two numbers comes out to be 0.012. Okay, now what this means is I want an answer option that is very near to 0.012, and that should be the correct one. So if you look at the D option, the D option is 5 divided by 816. This is 0.0061, quite the half of what we have actually found, so that's not correct. The C one says 7 divided by 408. 7 divided by 408 is approximately 0.017, quite large, slightly greater than what we want. Next one is 7 divided by 816. Well, that is also 0.0085, not correct. The A1 is 5 divided by 408. 5 divided by 408 is indeed 0.0122. Perfect. That's exactly what you want, right? And that is the correct answer to your question, option A. Okay, so that's a very short and sweet method for solving these particular questions. We had a similar question in CAT 23 also. You can check out the link in the description. I put the same. Hi, don't forget to check out my course for the Quant section of the CAT exam, where I've explained all concepts, tips and tricks, shortcuts, and past year questions in great detail. So let's go on to the next question now. It is based on logarithms or logs. If A, B, C are positive real numbers such that A is greater than 10, which is greater than equal to B, which is greater than equal to C, and log of A plus B to the base 8 upon log C to the base 2 plus log of A minus B to the base 27 upon log C to the base 3 is 2/3, then the greatest possible integer value of A is. Okay, very simple question. Many people mess this up because they didn't pay attention to what was asked or what was coming out in the end. So please pay attention while we solve this. The first part here is log of A plus B to the base 8 in the numerator. Let's write that as log of A plus B to the base 8 can be written as 2 cube divided by denominator is log of C to the base 2 as it is, right? Now we have studied this property in logarithms, guys. Whenever the base has a power, that power should come out in the denominator, right? So log of A plus B to the base 2 cube, from that I can take the 3 outside from the power and write this as 1/3 of log of A plus B to the base 2 only. And something exactly same I'll do in the next part also, guys. Plus we have log of A minus B to the base 27. Let's write 27 as 3 cube simply. The denominator is log of C to the base 3. And obviously the right hand side is 2/3. Now if you focus on the numerator here, guys, it is log of A minus B to the base 3 cube. So the 3 in the power I can once again take in the denominator, or I can say this is 1/3 log of A minus B to the base 3 only. Okay, let's take the 1/3 common from both the brackets and see what we get next. Log A plus B to the base 2 divided by log of C to the base 2 plus log of A minus B to the base 3 divided by log of C to the base 3 will be simply 2/3, right? The next point is 1/3 and 2/3. The 3 gets cancelled from the denominator, right? Next, this is log of A plus B to the base 2 divided by log of C to the base 2. They both have a common base. and that common base is 2, right? So we can write this particular part as log of a plus b to the base c. Okay, this is the property of base chain that we have seen. We have also discussed this as a chain rule in logs, right? Similarly, guys, the next term is plus log of a minus b to the base 3 divided by log of c to the base 3. Both these terms have a common base 3. So this will become log of a minus b to the base c. The entire thing is equal to 2. Now observe carefully. These two terms have the same base c and we have a plus sign, right? So this is like log of x to the base c plus log of y to the base c is equal to 2. This we can simply rewrite as log to the base c of a plus b into a minus b, right? We know that log of xy is log x plus log y when the base is same, right? Same logic. This is equal to 2. The last step is we transform everything into indices form. So log of a plus b into a minus b to the base c is 2. I can write this in the indices form as this term a plus b into a minus b, a plus b into a minus b is equal to c square. Okay, and a plus b into a minus b is also a square minus b square. So I get simply a square minus b square is equal to c square. The last step I can simply write as a square is nothing but b square plus c square, right? And that is what gives me the answer finally. I have to understand that a should be greater than 10 obviously, but b and c could be both equal and the maximum value b could take could be 10, right? So it's given that b is less than equal to 10. 10 greater than equal to b simply implies what? B should be less than equal to 10 and c is less than equal to b. So naturally c is also less than equal to 10. They're asking you the greatest possible integer value of a. Since a is dependent on b and c, the maximum value a can take will be when b and c are maximum. B and c can be individually maximum equal to 10. So in place of b, I will substitute 10. In place of c also I'll substitute 10. I will get a square is equal to 10 square plus 10 square, that is 100 into 2. 200. If a square is 200, if I take square roots, I will get a as 10 root 2. And if a is 10 root 2, 10 root 2 comes out to be equal to 14.1. They're asking you the greatest possible integer value of a. The greatest possible integer value of a will be less than 14.14 and that is simply equal to 14, the answer to our question. Pretty simple question, just that it may look lengthy, slightly intimidating if you don't know logs. But if you know logarithms, the concept is a very, very simple question. The answer is 14. Alright, so this is the next question from CAT 24, the second slot. A company has 40 employees whose names are listed in a certain order. Okay, so 40 employees. Okay, 1, 2, 3, like that, 40. Okay. The average bonus of first 30 employees was rupees 40,000. Okay, so first 30 employees, the average bonus was 40k. Okay, the last 30 employees, their average was 60k. And of the first 10 and the last 10 employees together, okay, first 10 and last 10 together, their average salary together is 50,000. Okay. Next year, the average bonus of first 10 employees increased by 100%. So for these first 10 employees, the average bonus increased by 100%. I don't know what is that value, but whatever it is, it's increasing by 100%. So for these last 10 employees, the average bonus increased by 200%. I don't know what that value is, but whatever it is, it's increasing by 200%. And of the remaining employees, okay, the bonus was unchanged. So the 20 employees in between, their average bonus was unchanged. Then the average bonus in rupees of all the 40 employees together in the year 2023 was. Okay, so guys, the 40 people, okay, if I just write it like this, the 40 people in total, okay, for the first 30 people, suppose these are the first 30 people, their average is given to us. And for the last 30 people, let's indicate them in red. Okay, these last 30 people, the average is given to us as 60. Okay, now if you observe carefully between these two groups of people, the first 30 and the last 30, there is an overlap, the overlap of the middle 20 employees, right? So what we will do is, to understand things better, to put things in perspective, we'll break down this group into three parts: the first 10, the mid 20 and the last 10 people, and you will see how the magic unfolds and we can solve this question much quickly. right? So first 10 people, the mid 20, and the last 10 people. Let us suppose that the average bonus for that particular group be equal to A, B, and C respectively. Now, as per the question, the average bonus of first 30 employees was rupees 40,000. The first 30 employees include 10 people whose average was A and 20 people whose average was B. So the combined average is actually the weighted average of these, right? So we will now find the weighted average of this. So 10 into A plus 20 into B divided by 10 plus 20, the weighted average has been given to us as 40,000, right? 40k. Now we can rewrite this equation simply as 10A plus 20B is 40 into 30 will be 1200k, right? I'll call this is equation 1 for time being, all right? Similarly, the average of the last 30 employees was rupees 60,000. Same logic will apply for the last 30 people. 20 into B, the weighted average, plus 10 into C divided by 20 plus 10 is equal to 60k. This I can further rewrite as 20B plus 10C will be 30 into 60, 1800k. Let's call this as equation 2. And also, the average salaries of the first 10 and last 10 employees together was rupees 50,000. That means the weighted average of 10 people having an average of A, 10 people having an average of C was 50,000. So 10 into A plus 10 into C divided by 10 plus 10, 20 is given as 50k. This you can rewrite as 10A plus 10C is 50 into 20, 1000k. This is your third equation. Now, next year, the average bonus of first 10 employees increased by 100%. So this A is becoming double, 2A. And the average of the last 10 employees increased by 200%. The average was C. It is increasing by 200%. So it is increasing by 2C. And that is why the new average will be C plus 2C, 3C. And the average bonus of the remaining employees was unchanged. So for the 20 people in between, the average was still B. They're asking you what is the average of all the employees in the new year. Okay, in the new year, 10 employees have the bonus 2A, 20 employees have the bonus B, and 10 employees have the bonus 3C. Let's calculate the weighted average of this. So 10 into 2A plus 20 into B plus 10 into 3C divided by total 40 people. So what we have is 20A plus 20B plus 30C divided by 40. Naturally, we need to find the value of the numerator, and if we are able to find the value of the numerator, we can very easily get the answer in this case. Now let's observe something very interesting, guys. This entire expression in the numerator, 20A plus 20B plus 20C, we can very easily obtain this by manipulating the second and the third equations alone. You don't even need the first equation. Okay, the third equation, I will simply multiply it by 2 throughout. This will give me 20A plus 20C is 2 into 1000, 2000k. And when I add these two, I exactly get the numerator here, right? 20A plus 20B plus 20C plus 10C is 30C. This will be 2000 plus 1800, 3800k. And that's what we have our answer as. We substitute this value of the expression as 3800k in the numerator. The answer to our question is 3800k divided by 40. 0, 0 gone, 4 9s are 36 and 4 5s are 20. The answer to your question is 95k or 95,000, the B option. So it might look to be a very complex question, but we can simply break it down into 3 parts. The first part of 10 people, then 20 people, and then 10 people separately, and then use the concept of weighted average and equations. Okay, I have to admit that it's not a very simple question to be solved under the exam setting, but if at all you want to simplify things and solve it in a slightly better way, this is how we can proceed in. So let's go on to the next question from CAT 24, the second slot. Very good question because it combines your modern maths, PNC, with algebra. Okay, amazing question. So P, Q, R, S are four towns. One can travel between P and Q along three direct paths, between Q and S along four direct paths, and between P and R along four direct paths. There is no direct path between P and S, while there are few direct paths between Q and R and between R and S. One can travel from P to S via Q or via R or via Q followed by R respectively in exactly 62 possible ways. One can also travel from Q to R either directly or via P or via S in exactly 27 possible ways. Then the number of direct paths between Q and R is. As I said, beautiful question. So let's try to visualize this properly. P, Q, R, S are four towns. Let us visualize their positions. So I'll put P here, then I'll put Q here, then I'll put R here and S here. The question says one can travel between P and Q along three direct paths. So P to Q, there are three direct paths. Between Q and S along four direct paths. And between P and R there are four direct paths again. Okay, there is no direct path joining P and S as per the question, while there are a few direct paths between Q and R and between R and S. Let the number of direct paths between Q to R be A in number and the number of direct paths between R to S be B in number. Now one can travel from P to S. Okay, let's write the number of ways in which one can travel from P to S. So P to S, there are three ways to travel in. First, only by Q or only via R or via Q followed by R. So if I want to travel from P to S, there are three options. I can travel directly via Q or via R or via QR. If I travel from P to S directly via Q, the possible option is P to Q and Q to S. Okay, so by the counting principle, if I'm traveling from P to Q and Q to S, the total number of ways is 3 for P to Q and 4 for Q to S. So total number of ways of P to S will be 3 into 4, that is 12. Okay, simply our counting principle applied. If one thing can be done in m ways and the other can be done in n ways, total number of ways of doing them both will be m into n. So number of ways of traveling from P to S via Q is simply 3 into 4. Similarly, if you travel from P to S via the town R, the number of ways will be P to R 4 ways and R to S B ways. Total number of ways is 4 into B. Now the last possibility is if you're traveling from P to S via Q and R. So P to Q, Q to R and R to S. Okay, this should be your path. The total number of ways will be 3 into A into B. This is 3 into A into B. Now, traveling from P to S, you can travel through Q or R or Q and R, right? So, total number of ways of traveling is 3 into 4 plus 4 into B plus 3 into A into B. 3 into 4 is 12 plus 4 into B is 4B plus 3AB, right? And this total number of ways has been given in the question as 62, right? So, we equate this with 62. Now similarly, from the second last line, one can travel from Q to R also in the same way. I mean directly or via P or via S. If you're traveling from Q to R directly, there are a number of ways available. So directly I have a ways. Traveling via P, I will go from Q to P in 3 ways and then P to R in 4 ways. So 3 into 4, total 12 ways to travel in. And Q to R, if I'm traveling via S, Q to S is 4 ways and S to R is B ways. Total number of ways is 4 into B, which is 4B, and the total number of ways will be A plus 12 plus 4B, either directly or P or S. The total number of ways if you're traveling from Q to R will be A plus 12 plus 4B, and this total has been given to us in the question as 27. Let's look at the very first condition. From that, if you take 12 on the right hand side, you will have 3AB plus 4B is equal to 62 minus 12 is 50. And if you take 12 on the right hand side for the second equation, you will have A plus 4B is 27 minus 12, 15, right? So let's call this as equation 1. And let's call this as equation 2. Using these two equations, I need to find out the number of direct paths between Q and R. The number of direct path between Q and R we have assumed as A. So the question is all about finding the value of A, right? So let's see how we do that. Okay, so first of all, I have written these two equations because our prime focus is now to find the value of A. Now we start by subtracting the second equation from the first. When we subtract the two equations, we will get 4B minus 4B cancels. On the left hand side, 3AB minus A. On the right hand side, 50 minus 15, 35 remains. We get 3AB minus A is 35. Between these two, if I just take an A common, I will have A into 3B minus 1 is equal to 35. So what I need to focus on right now is only on this particular equation. A into 3B minus 1 should be equal to 35. Now the right hand side is a natural number 35. and the left hand side is a into 3b minus 1. Naturally, since a and b are the number of paths possible between any two roots, a and b can be natural numbers, or I would say whole numbers, right? But if a is a whole number, a cannot be 0, because if you take a as 0, 0 into something is always 0, but we need 35. Naturally, a is not 0. So basically a and the next number that you have, 3b minus 1, these two are going to be natural numbers, right? So let's split the left hand side also as a product of two natural numbers, and we need the product 35. So there are four ways of doing this. The first is a can be 1 and the second bracket can be 35. The second possibility is a can be 5, the second bracket is worth 7. The third possibility is a is 7 and the second bracket is worth 5. And the last possibility is a is 35 and the second bracket is worth 1. Now let's start by eliminating the possibilities. Let's say the last case. In the last case, we get a as 35 and 3b minus 1 is 1. If 3b minus 1 was 1, then 3b would be equal to 2, or b would be equal to 2 by 3. The number of ways to travel can never be a fraction. So this particular case is ruled out. If you look at the first possibility, I will write a as 1, and if 3b minus 1 is 35, 3b will be 36 or b will be equal to 12. Now this gives you a fairly right solution, but the problem is if I substitute these values a as 1 and b as 12 in any of these two equations 1 and 2, they will not satisfy them, right? So this particular case also needs to be ruled out. And I have a problem in the second case also. If you take a as 5 and 3b minus 1 as 7, I'll write a as 5 and 3b minus 1 is 7, so 3b is 8. Again, I get b is equal to 8 by 3. So just like the last case, the second case can also be very easily ignored, considering that we get the number of ways b as a fraction 8 by 3, which is not possible. That leaves me only with one possibility, and that is a is 7 and 3b minus 1 is 5. So if a is 7 and 3b minus 1 is 5, 3b will be equal to 6 or b is equal to 2. Yeah, perfect. B is 2 and a is 7. Now if you want, you can check by substituting in these two equations. A is equal to 7 and b is equal to 2 will satisfy both the equations here, right? So very clearly the number of direct paths between Q and R, which we had assumed as A, is nothing but 7, and thereby the answer to our question. Alright, so very beautiful question, slightly lengthy but not very difficult. If you know your basics right, if you know the concept of modern maths and your equations, the question is sorted. So this is our next question from CAT 24, the second slot. A fruit seller has a stock of mangoes, bananas and apples with at least one fruit of each type. At the beginning of a day, the number of mangoes make up 40% of his stock. That day he sells half of the mangoes, 96 bananas and 40% of the apples. At the end of the day, he ends up selling 50% of the fruits. The smallest possible total number of fruits in the stock at the beginning of the day is. Alright. So the question tells us about three types of fruits, MBA, not management, mangoes, bananas and apples. And we have some total number of fruits, right? Let the total number of fruits be equal to X, because this is what we are interested to find out, the smallest possible total number of fruits at the beginning. So let that number be equal to X. Now, in the beginning, the mangoes make up 40% of this stock, right? So 40% of X will be 0.4X. Next, that day he sells half of the mangoes. So the half of 0.4 is 0.2x. 96 bananas. So 96 bananas. And 40% of the apples. The apples we have assumed as A in number. 40% of that will be 0.4A. And these total number of fruits sold, 0.2x for mangoes, plus 96 for bananas, plus 0.4A for apples. This total number of fruits sold is 50% of the fruits, right? At the end of the day, he ends up selling 50% of the fruits. So initially, if he had X number of fruits, he's selling half of that. So X by 2 number of fruits are being sold. Now, what we can do is we can simply multiply throughout by 10 to make things slightly easier. When we do that, we're going to get 2X plus 960 plus 4A is equal to 5X, or I will get 3X. Okay, taking 2x on the right hand side, basically 3x is equal to 4a plus 960, or dividing by 3 on both sides, I will get x is equal to 960 upon 3 is basically 320 plus 4a upon 3. I can simply write this as 4 into a by 3, right? This is what we get as x. Now the question is, what is the smallest possible total number of fruits? Okay, since he has at least one fruit of each type as per the question, the minimum value A can take cannot be 0, right? Otherwise, the minimum value of x would have been 320 plus 4 into 0 upon 3, that is 320. But that is not possible here because they're saying there is at least one fruit of each type. So A cannot be 0, number of apples initially can't be 0. Can we take the number of apples as 1 to minimize x? When we do that, guys, 320 plus 4 into 1 by 3 will be 320 plus 4 by 3. This is not an integer, right? Okay. So the point we understand here is if this number x needs to be an integer, a should be a multiple of 3, right? So the least value we can take for a minimum should be equal to 3. But we have a small problem when you directly take a as 3. In that case, 0.4a will be 0.4 into 3 or 1.2. The number of apples sold will not be an integer. So a has to be a multiple of 3, but such a number which I'll multiply by 0.4 to get an integer value. So I can't take 6, I can't take 9, I can't take 12. The only value I can take for a minimum can be 15. So when I take a as 15, this number 0.4 into 15 will become 6, an integer. So number of fruits, the number of apples become sold become 6. That is possible, right? And this value will now eventually become 4 into 15 by 3. 3 5s are 15, 5 4s are 20. The minimum value of total fruit sold is 320 plus 20, that will be 340. And this is the answer to our question. What is smallest possible number of total fruits in the beginning? The answer is 340. Beautiful question. It is majorly of equations, how to form equations and manipulate them to get the answer. Our answer is 340. Hi, don't forget to check out my course for the quant section of the CAT exam, where I've explained all concepts, tips and tricks, shortcuts, and past year questions in great detail. So let's go on to our next question, guys. The 13th question. It is based on algebra. Very beautiful question. If x plus 6 root 2 raised to 1 by 2 minus x minus 6 root 2 raised to 1 by 2 is basically 2 root 2, then x equals. Okay. Now there are two ways of approaching this problem. The first approach is we have to observe that we have taken square root of x plus 6 root 2. It's a surd. And square root of x minus 6 root 2 is also a surd. And we have got 2 root 2, right? Okay, so what we have to understand is by taking square roots of a surd, it is implicit that this surd is of perfect square, meaning this surd here is of the form a square plus b square plus 2ab, where a square plus b square is worth x and 2ab is worth 6 root 2. Okay, and that's our whole target now. We need to figure out the value of a square plus b square, which will be equal to x. And as a check, you can confirm this side we have a square plus b square minus 2ab. Yet again, a square plus b square will give you the value of x. So now for time being, we simply substitute x plus 6 root 2 as a square plus b square plus 2ab. So the first part becomes a square plus b square plus 2ab raised to half. And again, in place of x minus 6 root 2, we substitute a square plus b square minus 2ab. So it will become a square plus b square minus 2ab raised to half. And this should be equal to 2 root 2. Okay. The next step is this part is a plus b the whole square. The square root is nothing but a plus b only minus. This part is a minus b the whole square. The square root is a minus b only. And a plus b minus a minus b is 2 root 2. When we open the bracket, we get a plus b minus a. Minus of minus b is plus b. It will be equal to 2 root 2. A and minus a cancel. Further, we get b plus b, that is 2b. 2b is 2 root 2, or b is equal to root 2. Okay, so we are already halfway there. We have found b as root 2, and we also know that the 2ab term is nothing but 6 root 2. So if 2ab corresponds to 6 root 2, we can put b as root 2 here. I'll get 2 into a into root 2 is 6 root 2. Root 2 and root 2 gone. 2 1s are 2 3s are. I'll get the value of a as 3. And now we have got a as 3, b as root 2. Our target is to get x, which is a square plus b square. So the value of x, which is a square plus b square we have taken, is 3 square plus root 2 square, which is 9 plus 2 or 11. Okay, so our answer is 11. Alright, so now let's look at a slightly better way of doing this instead of substituting and resubstituting. We know that this should be a perfect square, and so is this term. These two terms are basically perfect squares whose square roots we are taking and subtracting to get 2 root 2, right? So let's represent this as a perfect square in the first place to make things easy. This is 6 root 2. Visualize this as your 2ab term. So this should be 2 into 3 into root 2, right? So if 2ab term is 2 into 3 into root 2, the latter part should be 3 square plus root 2 square, right? Because only then you have a perfect square, a square plus b square plus 2ab, right? And we're taking square root of this. Naturally, this is a plus b the whole square, right guys? So 3 plus root 2 the whole square. The next step is you're taking the square root. Ultimately, you will get 3 plus root 2, isn't it? And similarly, in this second term, when you solve this, ultimately, you will get this as 3 minus root 2. By the same logic, the last step is we'll be subtracting these two. So if you can see, this whole thing minus this whole thing is actually 3 plus root 2 minus 3 minus root 2, right? This is 3 plus root 2 minus 3. Minus of minus makes it plus. Minus 3 and plus 3 gone. The final answer is nothing but 2 root 2, and that matches, right? So what we had assumed is absolutely correct. We had assumed 2ab as 2 into 3 into root 2. So a is 3 and b is root 2. The value of x is 3 square plus root 2 square directly. It will be nothing but 9 plus 2, that is 11. And that is the answer to our question. So it is more or less the same thing that we had done previously. We are not substituting or resubstituting. We can directly split the term as a square plus b square plus 2ab and a square plus b square minus 2ab. In this case, directly we'll get x as a square plus b square, which is 11. So let's look at our next question from CAT 24, the second slot. The coordinates of the three vertices of a triangle are 1, 2, 7, 2 and 1, 10. Then the radius of the incircle of the triangle is. So now one way of solving the question is you draw the triangle, okay? Write the vertices 1, 2, then 7, 2 and then 1, 10. And we need to understand the radius of the incircle is the in radius, and that we denote generally by small r. Now, regarding the in radius, we have very limited concepts in geometry. That's the best part. So it will help us to find out what can be used very quickly. So we have one formula for the area of a triangle as area of a triangle is in radius into semi perimeter. So the in radius shall be area divided by semi perimeter. So in the case of this triangle, I need to find out the area as well as the semi perimeter. Let's start by finding out the area of this triangle. The area of the triangle can be found very easily using the shoelace method we have discussed in our geometry course. So 1, 2, 7, 2 and 1, 10. And then the first coordinates we write them again 1, 2. Now 1 into 2 will be 2. 7 into 10 is 70 and 1 into 2 will be 2. 2 plus 70 plus 2 is 74. And now the next step is 2 7s are 14, 2 1s are 2 and 10 1s are 10. So 14, 2 and 10, this should be basically 26, right? The next step is we take the difference and we divide by 2. So 74 minus 26 shall be 48. 48 by 2 is 24, the area here. The next step is to find the semi-perimeter here. For the semi-perimeter, guys, we'll need the perimeter of this triangle, and for that we will need the length of the individual sides. So for the sides now we can use the distance formula like 1, 2 and 7, 2. The distance between these two vertices can be found as square root of 7 minus 1 the whole square plus 2 minus 2 the whole square. This will be root of 7 minus 1 is 6 square plus 0 square, which is root of 6 square, and that is nothing but 6 units, right? Similarly, we can find out the length of this particular side. The vertices are 7, 2 and 1, 10. So square root of 7 minus 1 the whole square plus 2 minus 10 the whole square. This should be equal to root of 6 square plus 8 square, and that is root of 100, which is nothing but 10. And similarly, we find the length of this particular side. So the length of this side will be square root of 1 minus 1 square plus 2 minus 10 square. Now 1 minus 1 is 0 and 2 minus 10 is minus 8. So 0 square plus minus 8 square is basically root of 8 square only, and that will be 8. So for this triangle, the sides are 6, 8 and 10. And for this triangle, the semi-perimeter can be found as sum of the three sides divided by 2. So 6 plus 8 plus 10 divided by 2, 24 upon 2 would be 12. And now we have the area and the semi-perimeter. The end radius can be very easily found as the area divided by the semi-perimeter. So 24 upon 12, the end radius required is 2, the answer to our question. Okay, slightly lengthy, but if you do not know any other logic, if you are not very much comfortable while solving these questions, or if you're not very comfortable with coordinate geometry itself, you can try this particular approach. And now let's look at a much quicker and a much faster way of solving this particular question. So we observe that all the 3 points given are in the first quadrant. So we draw the coordinate axis and we plot these points first. The first point has coordinates 1, 2. Let's suppose the point would be here, okay, having coordinates 1, 2. Okay, the other point is 7, 2. Now this point has the same y coordinate, right? So that means it will be at the same horizontal level as compared to the first one. Okay, it has coordinate 7, 2. So it will be something like this, right? And the third point has coordinates 1, 10. Notice that its x coordinate is same as the first point. So it's going to be something like this. Okay, a vertical line having the same x coordinate 1. And now we can very clearly observe the triangle is a right angle triangle. And in this we can very easily find the sides. So between these 2 points, the y coordinate being the same, the difference between the two x coordinates is the distance between the 2 points, right? So 7 minus 1, this length is nothing but 6. And here between these 2 points, 1, 10 and 1, 2, the x coordinate being the same, the distance of the 2 points is the difference of their y coordinates, which are 10 and 2 in this case. 10 minus 2 will give me an 8. This is very clearly your 6, 8, 10 triplet. Now you can use the previous approach, guys. You can find the area and then area upon semi-perimeter is the end radius. But if you remember our geometry course, we have already listed down all the Pythagorean triplets. And in that we have the 6, 8, 10 triplet where the end radius I have directly mentioned was 2. So you don't even need to lift up your pen to answer this question. The answer is very easily 2. So if you want to understand this concept in detail, or you want to understand the connection between Pythagorean triplets and the end radius of a right angle triangle in detail, you can check out my course link in the description. There I've explained all these concepts in detail. Okay guys, this next question is an exact copy, a direct ditto word to word copy of a CAT 23 question. And I think this was asked in the third slot if I'm not wrong. So I have already solved this particular question in the CAT 23 video series. But let's go through this entire thing one more time. Anil invests rupees 22,000 for 6 years in a scheme with 4% interest per annum, compounded half yearly. Separately, Sunil invests a certain amount in the same scheme for 5 years and then reinvests the entire amount he receives at the end of 5 years for 1 year at 10% simple interest. If the amounts received by both at the end of 6 years are equal, then the initial investment in rupees made by Sunil is. Okay, so Anil is investing rupees 22,000 for 6 years in a scheme with 4% interest per year compounded half yearly. So we have studied this in SICI, guys. Whenever we have half yearly compounding, the time period would basically get doubled. So we'll consider this as 12 cycles and the rate of interest will basically become half. So 4% will consider as 2% per half cycle or per half year or for per 6 months, right? So the rate of interest is 2% for 6 months and we have 12 such cycles or 12 such 6-month cycles. So the amount that Anil would be getting would be A is equal to principal P 22,000 into 1 plus R is 2 by 100 raised to N. N here is 12. Okay, this is the amount Anil is liable to get. And now many people get scared and confused looking at the 12 in the power. But we have to be little patient here. We have to look at the other part of the question and we'll be sort of optimistic, thinking that something may get cancelled out. So Sunil invests a certain amount in the same scheme for 5 years and then reinvest the entire amount he receives at the end of 5 years for 1 year at 10% simple interest. So Sunil let's say he's investing X rupees in the same scheme. So in 5 years, Sunil is liable to get X into 1 plus 2 by 100 raised to 5 into 2 is 10 cycles, right? So raised to 10. And now this entire amount, Sunil is investing for 1 year at 10% simple interest. So this entire amount will increase by 10%, or this entire amount simply gets multiplied by 1.1. And now as per the question, these two amounts are the same. So let's equate the two. We'll get the value of X that is required here. We'll write X into 1 plus 2 by 100 raised to 10 into 1.1 is equal to 22,000 into 1 plus 2 by 100 raised to 12. Now 1 plus 2 by 100 raised to 10 and 1 plus 2 by 100 raised to 10 will get cancelled out from both sides. Here 12 minus 10, only the power 2 remains. I could also cancel out 1.1 from both sides. 1.1 ones are, and 1.1 into 20,000 would give me 22,000, right? So finally X will be nothing but 20,000 into 1 plus 2 by 100 is 1.02, the whole square. And now you could use the on-screen calculator to find out this value. If you have the on-screen calci, you can instantly get your answer. Otherwise, we have also learned a method in speed maths to calculate such cases. So we need to find out 1.02 square. Let's take it as 102 into 102. 102 is 2 more than 100 and 2 more than 100 here. Next step is you cross add any of them. You will get 104. Insert 2 zeros, and to this value 10,400 you add the product of 2 and 2 4. You will get 10404. So naturally 1.02 square is nothing but 1.0404, and this 1.0404 gets multiplied by 20,000. So double of this is 20808, and that is the answer to our question. Very clearly it is our B option. Alright, so I hope you've understood this solution, guys. For this part, if you're not very much sure about this particular shortcut, you can check out my course in the description where I've explained this shortcut and a lot of other techniques of calculations in speed maths. Alright guys, this is our next question from CAT 2024, the second slot. And it says, the roots alpha and beta of the equation 3x square plus lambda x minus 1 is 0. This symbol is called lambda. So 3x square plus lambda x minus 1 is 0. Satisfy 1 upon alpha square plus 1 upon beta square is 15. The value of alpha cube plus beta cube the whole square is. Let us understand what we have been given initially. We have been given 1 upon alpha square plus 1 upon beta square as 15. Now our first step is we cross multiply these two terms. We will get alpha square plus beta square divided by alpha square into beta square will be equal to 15. Now this numerator is like a square plus b square, right? A square plus b square we can manipulate as a plus b the whole square minus 2ab. And the denominator alpha square beta square can be written as alpha beta the whole square. And this entire thing has been given to us as 15. And similarly, we focus on what is required in the question. Alpha cube plus beta cube the whole square. Alpha cube plus beta cube is like a cube plus b cube. The expansion is a plus b into a square plus b square minus ab. Once again, a square plus b square can be written here as a plus b the whole square minus 2ab. But we have another AB term here. So both will combine and become minus 3AB. So this entire term becomes alpha plus beta the whole square minus 2 alpha beta minus alpha beta, which is minus 3 alpha beta. And outside we have alpha plus beta only. But they're asking you alpha cube plus beta cube the whole square. Okay. Now let's process the given data in the question. We have a quadratic equation 3x square plus lambda x minus 1 is 0. The roots are alpha and beta, right? So sum of the roots for this quadratic will be alpha plus beta minus the coefficient of x, that is lambda, upon the coefficient of x square. So alpha plus beta is simply minus lambda upon 3, and the product of the roots is alpha beta. Product of the roots for any quadratic is always c by a. So alpha beta here in this case will be c, the constant term, minus 1 divided by a here is 3. Now what we will do is alpha plus beta's value is minus lambda by 3 and alpha beta is minus 1 by 3. These two values I will substitute in the given expression here. And I'll try to get the value of lambda. Basically, I'm trying to get the value of alpha plus beta in short. So let's substitute alpha plus beta the whole square is minus of lambda by 3 the whole square minus 2 times alpha beta. Alpha beta is minus 1/3. Divide by alpha beta the whole square is minus 1 by 3 the whole square. This thing has been given to us as 15. This on simplifying becomes lambda square by 9 plus 2 by 3 is 15 into minus 1 by 3 square. Basically 15 into 1 by 9. So 5 ones are and 5 threes are gone. So further, lambda square by 9 is equal to 5 by 3 on the right hand side minus 2 by 3 on the left hand side. 5 by 3 minus 2 by 3 is 3 by 3, which is 1. I'll get lambda square by 9 is 1, or lambda square is 9, or I'll get the value of lambda as plus or minus 3. Okay, now guys, if lambda is plus or minus 3, I'll resubstitute lambda in its place, that is alpha plus beta. So alpha plus beta will be minus of lambda upon 3, right? That means alpha plus beta will be either plus 3 upon 3 or minus 3 upon 3. We substitute the value of lambda here. Minus of 3 will be minus 3 and minus of minus 3 will be plus 3. So alpha plus beta will be either 3 by 3, 1 or minus 3 upon 3, minus 1. Okay, now our whole job is to substitute these values, alpha plus beta and alpha beta, in the blue colored equation here. So alpha plus beta will put it as 1 in the first case, and alpha beta will basically put it as minus 1 by 3. That is our first case. So putting it here, we get 1 into alpha plus beta the whole square will be 1 square minus 3 into minus 1 by 3. Okay, this is 1. Minus 3 into minus 1 by 3 will be minus and minus plus, and 3 ones are 3. 1 square plus 1 will be again 1 only. So alpha cube plus beta cube, the value comes out to be equal to 2. But they're asking you alpha cube plus beta cube the whole square. And we have got alpha cube plus beta cube as 2. So the final answer would be 2 square, which is 4. Similarly, if I substitute alpha plus beta as minus 1, I'll get the first term here as minus 1 and minus 1 square minus the remaining term will be as it is, 3 into minus 1 by 3, which will again give me 2, and the square will again be equal to 4. In either case, whether alpha plus beta is plus 1 or a minus 1, alpha cube plus beta cube the whole square will still be equal to 4, and that is the answer to our question. So yes, I accept it's a slightly complicated question, but I hope you guys have understood. If not, you can watch this video slowly and carefully once again, and I think it will make more sense. Hi, don't forget to check out my course for the quant section of the CAT exam, where I've explained all concepts, tips and tricks, shortcuts, and past year questions in great detail. Alright guys, so this is your next question from CAT 24, the second slot. You can just pause the video and give it a try, and then resume the video for its solution. Alright, a bus starts at 9 a.m. and follows a fixed route every day. One day it traveled at a constant speed of 60 kilometers per hour. The speed is given to us, and reached its destination 3.5 hours later than its scheduled arrival time. Next day it traveled 2/3 of its route in 1/3 of the total scheduled travel time, and the remaining part of the route at 40 kilometers per hour to reach just on time. The scheduled arrival time of the bus is. So now what we have to do is, we have to look at the first scenario. One day it traveled at a constant speed of 60 kilometers per hour. So one day, I mean the usual day, the speed will be 60 kilometers per hour, and it reached its destination 3.5 hours later than its scheduled arrival time. So we'll assume something for the scheduled travel time. Generally people take it as t, but I will take it as 3t for time being. Okay, so usually it travels for 3t hours, but now at 60 kilometers per hour, the bus is reaching 3.5 hours late. So today, when the speed is 60, the time taken will be 3t plus 3.5 hours. Okay, remember 3t was your usual time. Okay, I'll mention it here. The usual time was 3t. Okay, but at the speed of 60 kilometers per hour, the time is 3t and 3.5. Okay, now in the next step, you'll understand very clearly why I assume the time as 3t, the usual time is 3t. Next day, it traveled 2/3 of its route in 1/3 of its scheduled travel time. 1/3 of the scheduled travel time. If the scheduled travel time is 3t, it is now traveling for t hours, alright, at a particular speed. And then the remaining part of the route, that is remaining 2t hours, the bus is covering at a speed of 40 kilometers per hour. Now many people get confused solving this question. I'll tell you a slight trick to understand things here. Observe that on one day the speed was 60 and the time was 3t plus 3.5. So the distance will be speed into time, that is 60 into 3t plus 3.5. Okay. Now next day it traveled 2/3 of its route in 1/3 of its scheduled time. 2/3 of this distance has been already covered. Now what remains will be 1/3 of this, right? 1/3 of this will be 1/3 of 60 into 3t plus 3.5. Okay, this comes out to be 20 into 3t plus 3.5, and they're saying this remaining distance was covered at 40 kilometers per hour in the remaining time. The remaining time was 2t. So the remaining distance is actually speed 40 into the time 2t. Solving this, you get the value of t and thereby your answer. So 40 into 2t is 20 and 20 cancels. You get 4t is 3t plus 3.5, or you will simply get t as 3.5 hours. If t is 3.5 hours, the usual time can be found as 3t. So if t is 3.5, 3t will be thrice, that is 10.5 hours. The usual scheduled arrival of the bus is 10.5 hours after it started. 10.5 hours after 9 a.m. is nothing but 7:30 p.m. Option C is the answer to your question. So the trick here is to understand the first 2/3 can be neglected. Only focus on the remaining 1/3. The remaining 1/3 of the distance is 1/3 of this value, which is covered at 40 kilometers per hour and in 2t number of hours. The distance covered should be same. So 40 into 2t is the remaining distance, 1/3 of this. And thereby we get t and 3t as 10.5 hours. The scheduled arrival time is 7:30 p.m. Alright guys, this is our next question from CAT 24, the second slot. You can pause the video and try it once and resume for the solution. So the question reads, 3 circles of equal radii touch but not cross each other externally. 2 other circles x and y are drawn such that both touch but not cross each of the 3 previous circles. If the radius of x is more than that of y, the ratio of the radii of x and y is. Now I'll explain the entire situation in this diagram here. The biggest circle here is the circle x in this question, and the smallest circle in the middle is your circle y. You can observe that there are 3 circles, 1, then this is the second 2, and this is 3. The circles x and y, the big circle x and the smallest circle y, they are tangent to the 3 circles, right? And they are basically not crossing them. So that's the situation in the entire figure. And I have joined the centers of these 3 circles having the same radii. I have joined them and formed a triangle. Now we'll zoom into this diagram and try to find out a few values that will help us to solve the question. Okay, so as discussed previously, I have joined the centers of these 3 circles. Let's call those centers as A, B, and C. And the center of the smallest circle, let's call that point as O. Now, for these 3 circles having the same radii, let that radius be equal to capital R. And for the smaller circle, let the radius be small r units. So now, you will observe that the sides of the triangle ABC are r plus r, that is 2r units, 2r units, and 2r units, isn't it? Now, if we observe carefully, BO, the value will be small r plus capital R, r plus r, and this BO is also the circumradius of the triangle, equilateral triangle in this case. And for any equilateral triangle, the circumradius is always the side divided by root 3. So now r plus r will simply be equal to, side is 2r divided by root 3, and from here we will get r is equal to 2r by root 3 minus of r that side. So small r is r common, 2 by root 3 minus 1. Dividing both sides by r, I get small r upon capital R as 2 by root 3 minus 1. And now I have highlighted the result r by r here. R by r is 2 by root 3 minus 1. The last part of the question demands the ratio of the radii of x and y. I call suppose this point as D. OD is the radius of the big circle x, right? And now if you observe closely, this OD, the radius of the bigger circle x, is nothing but r small r, the radius of your smaller circle, plus capital R twice. So it will be r plus 2r. If you observe carefully, the radius of your bigger circle is the smaller circle's radius, that is small r, and capital R plus capital R twice. So r plus 2r, and that is the radius of your circle x. The smaller circle y, the radius is nothing but small r, we already know this. And the question is now asking you the ratio of these two. R plus 2r divided by small r will be our answer. Just separate the denominator. We are going to get r upon r plus twice of capital R upon small r. This will be 1 plus twice of capital R upon small r. Now we had already found small r upon capital R as 2 by root 3 minus 1. This I can simplify as 2 minus root 3 upon 3. So if small r upon capital R is 2 minus root 3 upon 3, the reciprocal capital R upon R will be root 3 upon 2 minus root 3. So what we are getting now is 1 plus 2 root 3 upon 2 minus root 3. On cross multiplying, this will be 2 minus root 3 plus 2 root 3 divided by 2 minus root 3, or this becomes 2 plus root 3 divided by 2 minus root 3. Guys, we are almost there. We just need to rationalize the denominator here. So 2 plus root 3 upon 2 minus root 3, we simply rationalize, and for rationalization we simply multiply and divide by the conjugate of your denominator. If it is 2 minus root 3 denominator, we multiply and divide by 2 plus root 3 above and below. So this will give me 2 plus root 3 into 2 plus root 3 in the numerator. This is 2 plus root 3 the whole square. And the denominator is 2 plus root 3 into 2 minus root 3. That's a plus b into a minus b. A square minus b square. So numerator is a plus b the whole square. A square plus b square plus 2ab, and denominator is 2 square 4 minus root 3 square 3. So in the numerator you have 2 square 4 plus root 3 square 3 plus 2 2s are 4 root 3, and the denominator is 4 minus 1, that is 4 minus 3, that is 1. And the final answer is 4 plus 3 7 plus 4 root 3. And that is your answer. Very clearly it is the C option. Right? That's how you solve this question, guys. A very beautiful question. You just need to be very creative or imaginative to be able to make the diagram first. And once you get the diagram, it's a very easy question. That's how we do it. Though lengthy, but it's easy. The answer is option C, 7 plus 4 root 3. Alright guys, this is our next question from CAT 24, the second slot. You can pause the video and try it out once and resume for the solution. Okay guys, it's a very easy question. A vessel contained a certain amount of solution of acid and water. When 2 liters of water was added to it, the new solution had 50% acid concentration. When 15 liters of acid was further added to this new solution, the final solution had 80% acid concentration. The ratio of water and acid in the original solution was. Okay, so we have a vessel. That vessel contains acid and water. Okay, acid and water combined. When 2 liters of water was added to it, so if you're adding water to it, and that to 2 liters of water, then the mixture contains 50% acid. So now we have 50% acid mixture. Now when 15 liters of acid was further added to this, we are adding 15 liters of acid. We are adding acid 15 liters, and now the final solution had 80% acid. They're asking us the ratio of water and acid in the original solution. So let's start. Let's start by working in the reverse direction. Let's start by looking at the last transaction. Okay, a 50% acid solution. To this you're adding acid 15 liters. So we have 100% acid solution, and that is worth 15 liters actually. You're adding both, and overall you get 80% acid solution. Now in the next step, we'll simply apply the rule of alligations here. 100 minus 80 is 20, and 80 minus 50 is 30. The ratio comes out to be 20 is to 30, or 2 is to 3. So the ratio in which we have mixed the two solutions is 2 is to 3, but 3 is nothing but 15 liters. So 2 is nothing but 10 liters, right? 3 5s are 15, so 2 5s are 10. So after adding 2 liters of water, we have a 10 liter acid solution. Now in this solution, we have 50% acid, right? In this solution, 10 liters is the content and 50% is acid. So in this mixture, the second mixture, we have 5 liters of water, and we also have 5 liters of acid finally. And this 10 liters is obtained by adding 2 liters of water, right? So initially in this mixture, how much water content did we have? 5 liters minus 2 liters, basically 3 liters, right? So in this mixture, the water content was 3 liters and the acid content was 5 liters. The ratio required of water and acid in this solution will be 3 liters is to 5 liters, 3 is to 5, and that is your D option. Okay, very simple question. We just have to move backwards. We have to use the rule of alligation first, and we get the content 10 liters of this solution, and that 10 liters has 50% acid, so 5 liters acid and 5 liters water. This 5 liters of water is obtained by adding 2 liters of pure water. So initially the water content was 3. The ratio of water to acid initially is 3 is to 5. Your option D. Alright, so this is the next question, guys, from inequalities. You can pause the video and give it a try, and then you can resume for the solution. Now, inequalities is a very important chapter when it comes to CAT. If you're not very much comfortable with this topic, I suggest you to check out this course where I've explained inequalities and all of the concepts in great depth, right from the basics up to the advanced level. Now coming to the question, all the values of x satisfying the inequality 1 upon x plus 5 less than equal to 1 upon 2x minus 3 are. One way of solving this is you go by the conventional approach. You try to frame inequalities and then solve them. So let's take 1 upon 2x minus 3 on the left hand side. I'm going to get 1 upon x plus 5 minus 1 upon 2x minus 3 should be less than or equal to 0. I'm just subtracting 1 upon 2x minus 3 from both sides. Now next step is we'll cross multiply. So 2x minus 3 will come above, minus of x plus 5 divided by, in the denominator we have x plus 5 into 2x minus 3, which should be less than equal to 0. Now guys, observe 2x minus x will basically give me an x, and minus of plus 5 will become minus here. So minus 3 minus 5 will be minus 8. We have x minus 8 in the numerator, and denominator will be x plus 5 into 2x minus 3 less than or equal to 0. And now we will use a very standard method that we have seen in many inequalities based questions, and that is the wavy curve method. What we do is we plot the roots of these three terms. X minus 8 will be 0 when x is equal to 8, x plus 5 will be 0 when x is minus 5, and 2x minus 3 will be 0 when x will be equal to 3 by 2. So we'll plot these three values in the ascending order on the real number line. So minus 5, 3 by 2 and 8. And now let's plot the nature of this expression. When we take the value of x greater than 8, let's say x is 9, this bracket is positive, and so is this bracket, and so is this bracket, right? So this entire expression will be positive. So I'll indicate it like this. Now we have a quick shortcut hereafter that we have studied in the inequalities chapter, guys. When the powers here are all odd, as we have the powers here as 1, there will be a sign change everywhere. So we have this and this and this. So negative, positive and negative. But you want this entire expression to be either less than or equal to 0. So x has to be less than minus 5, or x has to be between 3 by 2 and 8. Well, the expression can also be equal to 0. So x can also be equal to 8 for that matter. But x cannot be equal to 3 by 2 or minus 5. Why? Because if x is 3 by 2 or minus 5, the denominator here would become 0, and that is not acceptable. For any expression, the denominator is never 0. So x cannot be equal to 3 by 2 or x cannot be equal to minus 5. That means x has to be less than minus 5, or x has to be greater than 3 by 2 or less than equal to 8. This is very clearly our B option. Now the other way of solving the question is to use the options, right? Options B and C mean that x is less than equal to 8. So let's take the value of x greater than 8 and plug it into the given inequality. If x is greater than 8, suppose x was equal to 10. If you put x equal to 10 here, the left hand side will become 1 by 15. And the right hand side becomes 1 upon 2 10s are 20 minus 3, 17. 1 upon 15 we know is greater than 1 by 17. But we want the left hand side to be less than equal to the right hand side. That means x equal to 10 won't be an acceptable value of x, or x cannot be greater than 8. So that rules out the A option and the D option directly, because in the A and the D options, x has been mentioned as greater than 3 by 2. No, not acceptable. So my answer has to be either the B or the C options, right? The difference between the B and the C options is the B option tells us that x is less than minus 5 or x is between 3 by 2 and 8. The C option tells us that x is between minus 5 and 3 by 2 or between 3 by 2 or 8. So the difference of these two options is the left hand side, this particular part. The B option says x is less than minus 5. C option says x is between minus 5 and 3 by 2. Let's consider the C option for time being, this part. X is between minus 5 and 3 by 2. Between minus 5 and 3 by 2, one value I can take for x is 0. And when I do that, the left hand side becomes 1 upon 0 plus 5, that is 5. The right hand side will become 1 upon 2 into 0 minus 3, 1 upon minus 3, or simply minus 1 upon 3. Once again, we know that 1 by 5 is greater than minus 1 by 3, but we want the left hand side to be less than equal to the right hand side. So C option is not possible because x is equal to 0 is not an acceptable value of x. What we get is the correct answer only, that is option B by elimination. Right, so it's a very simple question. Once again, if you have not understood the concept properly, I request you guys to check out my course in the description. There I've explained this particular concept and its shortcut and a lot of other questions in great depth, starting from the basics to the advanced level. Hi, don't forget to check out my course for the quant section of the CAT exam, where I've explained all concepts, tips and tricks, shortcuts, and past year questions in great detail. Okay guys, this is the next question from CAT 24, the second slot. You can try it once and resume for the solution. Alright, so it's a very simple question and it's a very typical question now. We have had similar questions in CAT 23 and CAT 2018 also. Matter of factly, this type of question has been asked in every slot of the CAT 24 exam. I have already solved the one in the first slot. You can check out the link in the description. And a similar question was asked in CAT 23 also. You can check out the link in the description for the same. So let's see how we deal with this. We have been given 4x square plus 4y square minus 4xy minus 6y plus 3 is 0. Then the value of 4x plus 5y is. So in this, our first step is we slightly rewrite these two terms, okay, by changing their order. We write this as 4x square minus 4xy plus 4y square minus 6y plus 3 is equal to 0. Okay. Now, if you observe closely, guys, this part is 2x the whole square minus 4xy can be split as 2 into 2x into y. So I already have 2x square minus 2 into 2x into y. It's like a square minus 2ab. I simply need a b square term, means I simply need a y square term. So what I will do is the 4y square I will split as plus y square plus 3y square. Okay, and the remaining two terms as it is, minus 6y plus 3 is 0. So this part is now very clearly a minus b the whole square. So 2x minus y the whole square plus, between these three terms we can simply take a 3 common. I'll take 3 common and get y square minus 2y plus 1 is 0. So what does y square minus 2y plus 1 represent? Y minus 1 the whole square, right? So this entire expression boils down to 2x minus y the whole square plus 3 into y minus 1 the whole square is 0. Now this we have studied previously is an algebraic tautology. That is, if I write a square plus 3b square is 0, a square and b square being perfect squares, the only way a square plus 3b square can be 0 will be when a will be 0 and b will be 0. So from here we can conclude 2x minus y is 0 and y minus 1 is also 0. So I simply get y is equal to 1, which I substitute in this equation. I'll get 2x minus 1 is 0, or I'll get x is equal to 1 by 2. X is 1 by 2 and y is 1. Now I can substitute these values in the second expression to get the value of 4x plus 5y. So 4x plus 5y will be 4 into x is 1 by 2 plus 5 into y is 1. 2 cancel, 2 into 1 is 2 plus 5 into 1 is 5, 2 plus 5, your answer is 7. Beautiful question. It's a very frequently asked question now. 2024 was the limit where I saw one question of this type in every slot. So very important. Remember this concept of algebraic tautology. So that brings us to the last question of CAT 24, the second slot. You can pause the video and try it out and resume for the solution. So the question reads, when Rajesh's age was same as the present age of Garima, the ratio of their ages was 3 is to 2. When Garima's age becomes the same as the present age of Rajesh, the ratio of the ages of Rajesh and Garima will be. Okay, so what they mean to say is sometime in the past, the ratio of Rajesh and Garima's ages, it was 3 is to 2. Let the ages be 3x and 2x. But this was when Rajesh's age was same as the present age of Garima. So Rajesh's age at that time was 3x, which is the present age of Garima. So the present age of Garima is basically 3x. Sometime in the past, Garima's age was 2x and now it has become 3x. The increase is 3x minus 2x, which is x years, right? So in this entire duration, x years have passed. So now Rajesh's age has also increased by x years. 3x was the age in the past, x was the increase. Present age of Rajesh is 4x number of years. The answer required is the ratio of their present ages. 4x is to 3x. The ratio which we want is 4 is to 3. And very clearly it is our A option. Very simple question. In fact, the simplest question of this lot. That's how we do it. The answer is 4 is to 3. So that's all. That was your entire CAT 24 slot 2 solved. If you want to check out solutions for slot 1 and slot 3, you can check out the links in the description. I have solved those slots also. See you all next time. Bye bye.